Today we are going to discuss a very important principle of classical mechanics, and this principle is D'Alembert's principle. Actually, D'Alembert's principle provides a formalism of reducing a system of moving particles to a system of particles in equilibrium. Now, what this principle states, first of all, we have to know this, and then we will see the mathematical form of this principle. You may see simply that mathematical form is its proof, but it will be more appropriate to say that that will be the mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle. So, what this principle states, I am just writing for your convenience the statement of this very principle. A statement. D'Alembert's principle states that a system of moving particles, a system of moving particles can be considered to be in equilibrium, under the action of the external force plus an additional force which is called reversed effective force, or you may say it inertia force, and this inertia force is given as minus P dot. So statement is very simple. We know that under a resultant force acting on the system does not remain in equilibrium. But if we consider that along with the external force, an extra or additional force, which is called a reversed effective force or inertia force, and it is defined by minus P dot, where P is in fact momentum, and P dot in accordance with second law of motion will represent a quantity which have dimension of force. If we consider this force along with the external force, in that condition the system which was not in equilibrium now will be in equilibrium. So this is a simple statement of this principle. Now we will see the mathematical form of this principle. Mathematical form of the principle, or you may say this is its proof, but it will be more appropriate to say that it is mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle, which I am going to derive. For this, we consider a system of particles, a system containing discrete number of particles, and say this system consists of n particles. And again, for calculation, we consider a particular particle, let us say an ith particle. This is an ith particle. Now, if a force Fi is applied on the particle I, then according to second law of motion, we can find that applied force. If Fi equal to force applied on the ith particle. Then, according to second law of motion, you know, second law of motion states that the rate of change in momentum is equal to force. So, according to second law of motion, this force Fi acting on the ith particle will be given as dpi by dt, or we can say this in dot symbol. This is pi dot, where what is this pi? This pi is linear momentum of ith particle. Linear momentum of ith particle. So what we see here, Fi is equal to pi dot in accordance with Newton's second law of motion. We may write this equation like this. This is Fi minus pi dot equal to 0, and this may be written as Fi plus minus pi dot equal to 0. Let us say this is equation 1. Now, this equation indicates that the particles of the system can be considered in equilibrium by assuming a force minus pi dot in addition to the actual force Fi acting on the ith particle. Because we know when net force on the particle is 0, then particle is in equilibrium. So, see here, the net force now acting on the particle is what? This is Fi plus minus pi dot, and this much is equal to 0. So, we can say that the ith particle is in equilibrium when we apply this additional force minus pi dot along with the applied force Fi. Then the ith particle is in equilibrium. So, now the particle, that is ith particle, is in equilibrium. Now let us take the scalar product or dot product of this equation 1 with delta Ri. We take a scalar product of equation 1 with delta Ri. You know what is delta Ri? Delta Ri is the virtual displacement of ith particle. And after taking this product, we sum over it for all the particles, and summing over all particles. What will be our result? See equation 1. As I have told you, we have to take a scalar product of equation 1 with delta Ri. So this is Fi plus minus pi dot delta Ri. And again, as I have told you, we have to sum up it for all the particles. So we take the limit of summation from 1 to n, where n is the total number of particles in the system. But as equation 1 says, this term is 0. So when we will take the scalar product of this term with delta Ri, the result will remain 0. Say it is equation number 2. Now, as we have seen in the previous lectures, that this force Fi consists of two forces. First one is applied force and second one is force of constant. So now we know that this Fi is equal to what? This equals Fia plus Fic. You know the meaning of these forces. Fia is what? This is applied force, and Fic, this is force of constant. So now we can put Fia plus Fic in equation 2 in place of Fi. Therefore, you may write equation 2 as summation over I 1 to n, and in place of Fi we will write Fia plus Fic minus Pi dot and dot delta Ri, and this will be equal to 0. Now simplify this result. Here we can write this equation as summation over I 1 to n Fia minus Pi dot delta Ri plus summation over I 1 to n Fic dot delta Ri, and this equals 0. But see this term, what is this? This is in fact work done by the force of constant. As we have learned in previous lectures, that if the constant imposed on our system are ideal, then this term will be 0, because the work done by the force of ideal constant is 0. So we consider our system is under ideal constant. So if the constants are ideal, then we know that Fic dot delta Ri summation I 1 to n, this will vanish, this will be 0. So what the above equation will become? So we see the above equation, this term is 0, so the remaining term this much will be equal to 0. So we find summation over I 1 to n Fi minus Pi dot delta Ri is equal to 0. Or we may write this equation as summation over I 1 to n Fi dot delta Ri, and this equal to summation over I 1 to n Pi dot delta Ri. In fact, this is the mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle. You will see its use in the forthcoming lecture, and this is mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle. This is mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle. Mathematical form of D'Alembert's principle. D'Alembert's principle. So this is all for today. In next lecture, we will see the application of this principle. Actually, we will derive Lagrange equation by using D'Alembert's principle. So this is very important and very useful, very applicable principle of classical mechanics.